Good. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our special council meeting of Monday, June 29th, 2026. I will now call the meeting to order and acknowledge that we are in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Administrative and procedural issues, 2.1, approval of today's agenda. The recommended motion is that the agenda be approved as presented. Moved by Councilor Strong, second by Councilor Lee. Motion is carried. We're good to go. Declaration of conflict of interest, appoints. Well, we can vote if you want, sure. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. There we go, we're good. Thank you, motion carried. Declaration of conflict of interest, I'll refer you to the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. 2.3, public hearings. Public hearing regarding the demolition order for 1685 Highway 242 River Hibbert. And before we start, go ahead, Councilor Lee, you're excusing yourself from this meeting. Into the gallery you shall go.
Councilor Lee is declaring a conflict and excusing yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, good. And I will reconvene the previous public meeting that we had on this matter. And now, Mr. Cole, I'll give you the floor.
Thank you, Your Worship. As you indicated, Your Worship, this is the continuation of the June 19th public hearing regarding the demolition of this property. At that hearing, Council directed that myself, in my capacity as the administrator of dangerous or unsightly properties, meet with the property owner to discuss potential remediation plans for the property. That meeting occurred on June 26th, and the owner of the property came up with what I'll describe as a fairly ambitious plan to remediate the property. That includes a number of items such as replacing footings, replacing the damaged flooring, replacing concrete blocks on the walls, also fixing the roof. And all of that work, he tells me, can be completed by September 30. As I say, I think it's an ambitious plan, but the owner of the property also indicates that he's a contractor with 40 years of experience in construction work and feels confident that he can complete the work as indicated. On that basis, Your Worship, the recommendation of staff is that the demolition application be adjourned until after September 30, 2026, to afford the owner an opportunity to do the work that he has requested.
Yes. Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Cole. I will now close. Oh, sorry. Any questions on this from anyone? Deputy Mayor Gould, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just, so is he perfectly, or like, is he clear on the fact that if he doesn't get all of the stuff done, that the demolition will most likely go forward and he will have lost the time and money that he's put into it, or is it?
Yes, so, Your Worship.
Go ahead.
In all cases, we try to be reasonable. If the work is substantially complete and that the September 30 date comes and goes where there's substantial completion, we would not be seeking a demolition order immediately after that. But if September 30 comes and goes and there is no substantive work been accomplished toward remediation, then we would be looking for a demolition order. And at that demolition hearing, the owner of the property would have an opportunity to present to council and, make an argument that, he needed more time or whatever the case may be. But I think the short answer is we would always try to be reasonable.
Right. Anyone else? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. The recommended motion is that council adjourn a decision on the demolition order for PID 2536-1726, 1685 Highway 242 River Hibbert until after September 30th, 2026. If someone would like to make the motion, moved by Councilor Strong, seconded by Councilor Fromm. Any more comments or questions on this? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Hearing none. Are you throwing an A in there, Councilor Redmond? Okay, thank you very much. Motion is carried. Thank you very much, Mr. Polk. Organizational policy and bylaw items. First reading of the bylaw to amend the LUB 26-09 to rezone PID 25522483, Highway 368, West Wentworth. Mr. Boone, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship.
And that is on page.
Just get the PowerPoint up there, a little bit of an overview. Thank you. This is, with all of our planning applications, first reading is the initial stage in the process. So I'll introduce the application to you, some basic details. I'll be happy to answer any questions, and understanding that this will, based on council decision, will either go on to the next step or we'll discuss that momentarily. So, subject property, based in West Wentworth. The land, as you can see outlined in black on the air photo, is follows along the brook that fronts the property or outlines the property on two sides. This is a wooded area. It's deciduous and coniferous trees, so it's a combination of both. Heavily wooded, has grown up over time. Although it's zoned agricultural, it is more of a wooded forested lot as it stands by. It's close to ski and bike Wentworth and various hiking trails. It's also in an area that's quite close to a lot of the ATV and snowmobile trails as well. Drennan Brook is a minor water course, but it does have a flow, and it does have the same purposes of any other water course, in that we protect it within the rights of the bylaw. So the plan is to go from the agricultural zone to the commercial recreation zone. In conversations with the developer and the applicant, we thought that was the one that would best serve, because his intention is to create fixed roof overnight accommodations or chalets for individual rentals, and we thought that was the most appropriate zone and with alignment on the policy. So it's a proposed project schematic you see here. The details will happen when we get to the building and development permit stage, should this rezoning go forward. This is actually a very detailed schematic for what we normally see at this stage. And they did this because they have had conversations to look at designing septic systems and how they would put services in there, water services, the septic systems, as well as access, driveway access to the proposed cabins and the chalets that would be there. So this is, they've gone very more advanced with this kind of site plan layout, but this will all be subject to, as I said, the development and building permit stage later. Looking at doing it as a phased development, we'll have the watercourse buffer that has to be maintained, because the brook still will require our buffer as per the land use bylaw, which in this case is 15 meters, because it's not in an enhanced area. And low density and designed to maintain the natural environment, so blend into the natural lay of the land in the forested area. So this is just a zoom in with all of these bylaw potential changes. I'd like to be very clear on the map what's changing, so it's really just the subject property itself. A little bit odd in the outline of the zone, because it does follow the brook in two sides, as I mentioned, so that's how the zoning will follow as well. So, implications, community engagement. Of course, if council approves this at first reading, we'll arrange a public hearing. Future council meeting, we'll advertise that in accordance with the MGA, and we will not be able to do that until we have our next established council sessions. Environment, Drennan Brook runs along the property, so as I mentioned, it's requiring the 15-meter watercourse buffer shall be maintained, and the cabins will be on cluster systems, so that's how the on-site sewage system will be developed, and that's in keeping with the Department of Environment and Climate Change's requirements, and their design, in this case, would be done by a QP2, which is actually an engineer that would lay out that design, and all that will happen in more detail at the building permit stage. Financial implications, nothing direct to the municipality. Once the development is complete, the property will be reassessed and assigned a new taxation. So further development of the short-term rentals to accommodate the traveling public obviously supports tourism in the area and helps stimulate the economy. So all very positive things. The recommendations before you, Worship, happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Boone. The recommended motion is the council approve first reading of the bylaw to amend the land use bylaw 26-09 to rezone PID 25522483 located along Highway 368 West Wentworth from AG zone to the commercial recreational zone, and schedule a public hearing. Somebody like to make the motion, please. Moved by Counselor Redmond, seconded by Counselor Lockhart. Any conversation or comments on this? Counselor Redmond, go ahead.
How many acres is that?
Good question. I don't have the acreage on the top of my head.
Okay, because I looked, yeah,
yeah.
that's all right.
Yeah, but
You can- yeah.
my memory is telling me it's between 12 and 14.
Yeah.
It's a significant parcel.
Anyone else? Counselor Front.
I see that there are 4 chalets are planned. Do they have plans to add on to that, or?
There we go. Sorry. It was off. It's on now.
Okay,
Yep.
sorry. Your worship, back to the counselor. His initial plan is to go one building at a time, actually. One of the buildings is a 2-unit, so a duplex. And over time, he would look to expand it, should the demand be there, but he's been very clear that he wants to make sure it fits in with the environment. So it would be limited by what he sees as his vision for the property. And there would be some limitations in respect to the setback, the buffer from the water course as setbacks for the site itself. And it would require him to add additional cluster septic systems, which obviously adds financial costs. So initially, he's happy to start phased in the 2-unit to start, and then one at a time after that. So, but provided he can meet those requirements, your worship, back to Councillor Frum, there would be room to expand within those parameters.
Good. Thank you very much. Okay, all good? Anyone else? Seeing none, I'll ask for the vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Hearing none, motion is carried. 4.1, business issues, appointment of building official and fire inspector. Mr. Boone, go ahead.
Thank you, worship. No slides required. I'm just going to grab to the spot here in the agenda so I can keep myself in track. As with all building officials and fire inspectors, it requires a resolution of council to put those officials in place. Aubrey Patterson is our new hire. He hasn't actually started with us. That's the reason for the date in the motion. But you can see his qualifications are attached. The report provides the details. And just want to mention that we're looking forward to having Aubrey join us, and to have a fully qualified building official as a direct hire is actually quite something. And I'm appreciative of the fact that we have that opportunity. So happy to answer any questions, but the report is self-explanatory and its qualifications are attached, as I mentioned.
Thank you very much, Mr. Boone. The recommended motion is that council appoint Aubrey Patterson as a building official and fire inspector for the municipality of the county of Cumberland, effective on July 6, 2026. Moved by everybody on the right side. Councilor McCormick, and seconded by Councilor Lee. Any conversation or discussion on this? Seeing none, call for the vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thank you very much, Mr. Boone. 4 point. I would suspect so, yes. It seemed like they were very energized over there for a minute anyway. 4.2, Cumberland Energy Authority dissolution.
Thank you, Your Worship. Don't want to monopolize the chair, so I'll finish on this one. This matter has been discussed with council in the past. This is an opportunity to align ourselves with regards to the organization. The Cumberland Energy Authority was created as a joint undertaking with the former towns of Spring Hill, Parsboro, and the municipality. It was created under Section 60 of the Municipal Government Act, and as part of what's in that act, it does require us to follow the process of that agreement and how we dissolve same. The only entity that still exists as part of this organization would be the municipality, but in order to put this in good stead, we got some legal advice from external legal counsel and put together a very detailed resolution. I apologize for the length, but that is the requirement to align this. This will do a couple things for us. It will complete the transition away from the Energy Authority, and it will also allow us to move forward on the one asset, land asset that the Energy Authority had, which is the property on 92 Junction Road. So allow us to get that into municipal ownership and title, but it'll also allow us to consider that as a surplus property in the future through the open council process. Happy to answer any questions, Your Worship, but the motion is before you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Boone. The recommended motion is that council approve the detailed two-page resolution attached to, as part of the council minutes. Moved by Councilor McCormick, seconded by Councilor Lee. Okay, any questions or comments on this? Go ahead, Councilor Lockhart.
That house we're talking about at the bottom there, I've had a few issues with some people living in there, and I know we've had to take action a couple times, so I'd be really glad to get this cleared up and some direction for that house. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Councilor McCormick, go ahead.
Worship, I just want to thank Glenn for all the hard work, and I know this was a lot of work for you to do, so I want to thank you and your department. Thank you, Worship.
You're very welcome. I suspect that the amount of work is relative to the length of the motion in the package, so.
Your Worship, the heavy lifting was done by our outside legal counsel and the persistence of our CAO.
Very good, thank you. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion is carried. Thank you very much, Mr. Boone.
Thank you.
4.3, paving upgrade on Lisgar Street in Spring Hill. And before we do, I understand that Councilor Lockhart wishes to speak and propose an alternative motion before we hear from our director. But you can come down, Mr. Walkrest. We certainly want you to hold your spot in case we get some questions directed in your way. So, go ahead, Councilor Lockhart.
Thank you, Your Worship. I passed everybody out one of these sheets before the meeting, but I'm going to take a few minutes to read it. Over the past few days, I've had quite a few conversations about the paving patching on Lisgar Street in Spring Hill. I've talked to citizens, staff, and many of my council colleagues. I want to thank my council colleagues with agreeing to have staff prepare the report that included in today's package. I learned in reading the information this weekend that our capital paving program is about $195,000 under the budget allocated. As I thought about that, I recalled the conversations that we had in early budget times about the conditions of the sidewalks in Spring Hill and how we had allocated some funds that would normally be spent on paving to address these sidewalks, and they haven't been any work on the sidewalks for a long time. While Lisgar Street may not look perfect right now, Public Works staff has advised me that driving surface is safe and that the full overlay can wait until at least next year as well. I'm hopefully that we can find some senior government funding for the biggest part of the Main Street project in the next year, so that would include the work on Lisgar Street, so we wouldn't have to tear it up a second time. But there are still the sidewalks in Spring Hill in very poor condition. In our budget discussion in the spring, staff had identified the following as segments of sidewalk that had required work, but we would not be able to fund to complete. 1 is Main Street, Lauren to McKay. 2, McGee Street, Blackie to Harrod Road. 3, Clarence Street, Church to McFarland. In speaking with Councilor McCormick, we agreed that the best use of the unspent capital paving budget is redirected to the sidewalks. We'd like to propose that council approve a redirection of $180,000 of the budget allotment from capital paving to sidewalk renewal and authorize the CAO to proceed to have this work done in the properly noted above. I'd like to invite Councilor McCormick to second my motion as she is inclined. And the motion is that council approve a reallocation of capital budget from capital paving in Spring Hill to sidewalk renewal in Spring Hill in the amount of $180,000 and authorize the CAO to spend up to $180,000 on renewing the sidewalks from 1 McGee from Lauren to McKay, McGee Street from Lackey to Harrod Road, and Clarence Street to Church Street to McFarland. Thank you. And I'll make that motion.
Thank you very much, Councilor Lockhart. Seconder for the motion? Seconded by Councilor McCormick. Any questions or conversation on this from anyone? Deputy Mayor Gould, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. So capital paving program, the extra money that we have, is that just because stuff come in under budget? Is that how that works?
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
So if we don't spend that money, where is it? Does it stay in the capital?
The capital paving line in the budget this year for Spring Hill paving was $1.3 million. $700,000 was coming from gas tax and $476,000 from debt, and $125,000 from the Trunks and Roots program. So if this work weren't completed, the borrowing would be reduced. So we wouldn't borrow 476, we would borrow approximately $200,000 less than that. The plan was, and the budget approval was, that any debt service related to that $476,000 would be paid for from the funds generated from the Spring Hill area rate. Does that answer your question?
It
Bill?
does, but so, I guess, if the Spring Hill counselors want to take on that burden, because there's an opportunity here for them to borrow less money.
Correct.
And take less out of their area rate over the next several years, so I'd be more inclined to go that direction, but, it's you guys are the ones that are paying it, so I would support your thoughts on that, I guess.
Anyone else? Seeing none, ask for the vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Contrary minded? Hearing none, the motion is carried. Thank you very much, everyone. And 4.4, Cumberland Business, thank you very much, Mr. Walkrest, for your input. Greatly appreciated. 4.4, Cumberland Business Connector Agreement. Mr. Harrod.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Give you the floor.
Just before I read that, I also want to thank Justin and his staff for the work they did on short notice to pull that memo together that really is in the council package and sees the light of day, but we didn't get a chance to present it, but the information was important to that last conversation. So thank you for doing that, Justin. I appreciate that. So, Your Worship, Cumberland Business Connector Agreement. So I've got a memo here for council that will eventually be included in the council package, and it's entitled Termination of the Cumberland Business Connector Agreement. Cumberland Business Connector was established over 10 years ago to serve as the provincial regional enterprise network for Cumberland County. The province had initially required us to join what we called the Northern REN, along with Truro and Colchester. However, a group of local business people stepped forward to create a local REN that would better reflect the needs of Amherst and Cumberland County. That organization would be and was run by a board of local business people with the idea that, quote, local politics wouldn't play a role in the operations of the organization. Most recent operating agreement with the connector expired on March 31st, just this past March 31st, 2026. We did undertake to negotiate a renewal between and amongst our partners, and however, in negotiating that renewal agreement, senior staff from both the municipality and the town of Amherst took the opportunity to review the continuing appropriateness of the current model of providing economic and business development services to the region. Staff concluded that the most efficient and effective way to deliver these services, is through municipal staff who report directly to their respective organizations. That would ensure that the work remained focused on municipal economic development priorities. In many cases, those priorities will align with the town of Amherst, and when they do so, we would work together to continue to advance them. As well, not continuing with the business connector would eliminate the duplication of administrative costs and effort on items like payroll, human resources, technology, audit, and professional fees. And those are sort of the highlights, but there would be other similar costs. This also provides the opportunity to redirect the money and resources being spent on administration to frontline economic and business development. Municipality intends to immediately reorganize its economic development function by appointing a manager of economic development reporting directly to the CAO's office to work alongside an economic development officer. And so, Your Worship, with all of those things in mind, the recommendation from staff, my recommendation, the recommendation of my counterpart, Jason McDonald in Amherst to the Amherst Council is that Council direct the CAO to provide the required 12-month notice to terminate the agreement to the other parties to the Cumberland Business Connector Agreement, and further add the position of Manager of Economic Development to the municipality's organization chart. I'm happy to answer any questions that Council might have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harrod. Somebody would like to make that motion? Moved by Councilor McCormick, seconded by Deputy Mayor Gould. Any comments or discussion on this from anyone? Seeing none, I think the summation of your report outlines all that we're attempting to do and our line of thought in this matter. And I can say this, it's been a long time in the hatching from the point of view that we looked at all the input parts and all of the needs that we require going forward. Things have changed a lot in the last few years, and we're now in a place where we really have to get busy and chase economic development directly. So, thank you very much for that. And,
Can I just add a comment?
Yes, sure, go ahead.
Just in terms of logistics, your worship, for council and for the public, the agreement, the recently expired agreement, provides for a 12-month notice for termination. 12 months would put us essentially to June 30th of 2027, and so it's not an immediate termination, rather it's serving notice that we would do that, and the organization will take whatever steps it needs to take to wind up its operations if that's the way they intend to proceed. So just in terms of details, your
thank
worship.
you very much. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Hearing none, the motion is carried. Thank you very much, everyone. And I need a motion to adjourn. Moved by Deputy Mayor Gould. We are now adjourned. Thank you very much.